Several countries in Latin America continue to maintain a total ban on abortions, including in cases of rape, incest, or where the mother's life is at risk. In El Salvador, there have been several high-profile cases of women who suffered miscarriages being sentenced to 30 years in prison for murder. Activists believe the Latin American experience could be a stark warning of what may come in America after the Supreme Court ruling that overturned the constitutional right to abortion. Our Central America correspondent Will Grant met one of the women in the capital, San Salvador.
Between them, these women served nearly 50 years in jail. Their crime, having a miscarriage in a country with the strictest abortion laws in the world. Their early release following years of campaigning represents a small but important victory for women's rights groups in El Salvador. Among them was Elsy, sentenced to 30 years for aggravated homicide after she miscarried in 2011.
I just kept thinking, why? Why did those who testified against me do this to me? But these are injustices which happen, and there are many others who are going through what I did.
Elsy is right about other cases. In May, a woman called Esme received 30 years for a miscarriage. Campaigners say their battle is to change society and warn the US would do well to look south.
Y es la posibilidad que América Latina también pueda enseñarle a Estados Unidos, ¿verdad?
Latin America could teach something to the United States through experiences as terrible as ours, in which you'll end up having women deny their freedom under these circumstances. But there are also examples of building common ground and finding solutions.
As much of Latin America begins to relax its strict abortion laws, El Salvador's deeply conservative society, where the church still looms over its politics, shows little sign of moving in the same direction. Instead, it remains the clearest example of what can happen in a country with an outright ban, and, to reproductive rights groups in the US, a stark warning about what may lie ahead.
At the Padre Vito Guarato home for abandoned children, 5-year-old Ana Lucia is attended to around the clock by her carers. She has microcephaly, where babies have a much reduced head size, possibly linked to a Zika virus outbreak. The staff do everything they can to give her a dignified, comfortable life, but in truth, with no option to abort, some parents see no choice but to abandon.
With anti-abortion politicians controlling Parliament and the evangelical church growing fast, there's slim hope of reform anytime soon.
Yo creo que el salvadoreño todavía es un poco conservador.
I think Salvadorians are still quite conservative, quite God-fearing, if I can put it that way. So none of these movements which we see in other parts of the world have prospered here.
As such, more women in El Salvador will no doubt end up in prison for miscarriage, a model being watched with worry in the US following the ruling of the Supreme Court. Will Grant, BBC News, El Salvador.